So in this session, you will be concentrating on sawtooth transaction flow. So thank you, madam.
Yes, thank you. Warm welcome to this session to all of you. Here in this session, basically we'll probe more into how we are going to develop the whole architecture, or how we are going to use that architecture, develop the programs for that, and what is the technology background provided by the Hyperledger Sawtooth platform. And that I have termed it as Hyperledger Sawtooth transaction flow. Okay. Just to give a brief warm up to the session. So generation first, second and third. This also was one of the slides, similar slides in Yogesh Babu's this one. Bitcoin, Ethereum, okay. So Bitcoin, then Ethereum, Fabric, Sawtooth. The Fabric is by IBM, Sawtooth is by Intel. So this was in 2017 and Sawtooth was in 2018. And incidentally, all are open source, right? So here, all are open source. So all have enable to transfer, facility to enable to transfer value. So these two are currencyless, okay? No third party intervention here, okay? Here also no third party intervention. This is public. These two are private permissioned blockchain network, okay? In this case, participants, I had told you this network participants here. We should keep this in mind when we are talking about things known to each other, okay? Even in Hyperledger Sawtooth, they are known to each other, okay? And this one here, the type is permissionless. This is also permissionless, but this is a permissioned network, and sometimes this acts as permissioned and permissionless network, okay? Here, I just wanted to put across, since most of us are academicians, one course module which they were teaching in Germany, right? This course was taught in Germany. It's an online course, okay, in Germany. Then the cost is around 870 euros. The cost, okay. They will teach the blockchain concept, structure, process flow, transactions, hashes, signing, permissions, consent, and Hyperledger Sawtooth basics. Then application design for the Hyperledger Sawtooth platform. Then Hyperledger Sawtooth application, one simple supply chain application which they will deal in this one. And also another interesting feature is run and troubleshoot an application. Why I brought this slide in middle is because this one 2018 Hyperledger Sawtooth started. It is only like 2 years old baby, right? But still it has gained, Fabric is 3 years old, okay? It has gained, both of these platforms have gained lots of this one, many, as the academicians, we have the responsibility of training our engineers for today's technology and state of art technology. That's why I have brought these things, and we also can contribute to this in our own way. Now, most importantly, what I'll be telling in this part is the transaction life cycle. This terminology is used in all the platforms, okay? Common terminology that is used in all the blockchain platforms. Now, this transaction life cycle is defined from the, you submit the transaction. with a record till a batch is formed and a state change occurs. Please remember this, a state change occurs and that block is linked to the blockchain. Okay, so right from the birth of the transaction till it goes and sits very comfortably in the block in the form of batches in the sawtooth. So this whole thing is in the context of this whole thing, it is known as transaction life cycle. Okay, now this is also one part which I have picked up the same sentence, so that I really felt it is very relevant. Now here, as an design engineer, you want to prepare tasty complete knowledge about good knowledge, first of all about blockchain, hyperledger transactions. Then if you are going to use JavaScript, then web programming, Python, Linux. Okay, it's this one supports Go, then Rust. Okay, C++, then Python. This Hyperledger Sawtooth supports. The transaction processes can be written in these languages and JavaScript, Java, I believe, Java. Okay, Java. Okay, so here these are the knowledge that we need to acquire in the course of implementation of the designs. So I had gone through because one of the things what I saw was so many people were using this Rust language. I will just tell only 2 sentences about this Rust language. It is very memory efficient language, right? Because it directly interacts with the hardware. Whereas for example, if you take if it is C language or something, it will interact to the hardware using the pointers, and it is time consuming and the execution time will be increased. So in large systems, they wanted to reduce the execution time and optimize the transaction life cycle time. Hence, they have implemented some of the designs using Rust language. So this language to design the transaction processes, transaction family, and also the client side, we can use this Rust language here. Okay, I will this one transaction flow. Some state change will happen here. Okay, state change by the validators. They are responsible for that. Okay, for the state change of the input transactions, whatever we have given. Once the state change happens, so this transaction goes itself, and through all this process, whatever we have shown here, it goes itself and links, like it links to, or it is updated in this blockchain, in one of the blockchain, in terms of batches, in case of the this one here. Okay, now let me tell the whole flow how it starts. You will have actually I would have taken Rust or Go language, or all the languages, C++, then Python or Java. This one I have taken you will have to build the Python Sawtooth SDK. So what you have to do, you will have to import the relevant SDK files, right, which are available in the Sawtooth network, Okay, so you will have to first build these things. That is first part, and then the client to the validator, that process starts. Client submits, then validator, it connects to the TP, right? So, and it tells, okay, now you have to start your work. TP, I'm sending you these things, you have to start your work. Okay, now this part I had covered. Now, what is the TP having? This TP is having a transaction handler. Okay, there is a handshake here. This TP is having a transaction handler, and this one, the transaction handler, okay, this transaction handler is connected to the transaction family. Please remember that whenever I say family, you know, that slide. So all these are you will be writing modules handler.py or handler.js. You will be writing these modules in your application development here. Okay, and this part also you will be writing these modules and the process to submit from the client to the validator. But you will not meddle anything with the validator. It is built in, right? So I told you one terminal this person will be running, another terminal this person will be running, another terminal validator will be running. Okay, one terminal in the same screen. Okay, in the same screen, second terminal and third terminal. So it refers to client to validate. This client side, one terminal, validator side, and the transaction processor side. Now, this transaction handler is there, no? This transaction handler, it is the one, and that transaction family, right, is the one which the outside. And in specific, here it is the Hyperledger Sawtooth blockchain network. Okay, so here what will happen? You have written a program, and you are also designing this transaction family for your application. You will have to design the transaction family for your application, and in the TP you will have to write this one. Okay, which interacts with the real world. Only then you can give the command processor start. That means the transaction process will commence. Okay, then this handler.js or say, let me take Python only, handler.py is there, no? It will the business logic, whichever, it will be having the business logic commands, and it will implement the smart contract. Okay, that means this part here, for execution of the smart contract, you will need to invoke this transaction handler. You need to invoke, right, the transaction handler. That means you'll tap the door of the transaction handler, then the process will start. Okay, now another interesting part, what is known is this asset, which I covered only by the name in case of Ethereum. Asset is a very generic word, means very popularly used word in this blockchain technology here. Okay, so this asset, please remember in one of the slides of designing the blockchain, we should know the asset, what we are going to use in the particular application. That is, asset is defined as having something having value. Because they suppose it is the money, it is the ID. You have to digitize that asset, and that asset goes on transferring in that whole network of the architecture, whatever I have showed. And I told you the change state will happen. It will happen only to that particular asset, and the new state is stored. For example, I had $100. I sent to somebody $20. $80 should be the new state for me. Now, regarding the assets, there are totally 3 types. One is the tangible asset, intangible asset, and hybrid assets. Tangible asset, one can see and touch physically. So it might be an apple, or it might be any other fruit which Walmart wants to send. That is known as the tangible asset. Intangible asset, it does not have a physical value. You cannot touch it, right? You cannot touch it. In this case, hybrid asset, temperature and humidity from you can feel that temperature, right? And you can feel the humidity. So you should have clear differences between the tangible, intangible, and hybrid assets. Physical value and can be felt in this hybrid asset. The humidity can be felt, temperature can be felt. So this knowledge should be very clear when we are doing this part here. Now, the blockchain market, to give you a feel why Dr. Uma has put an effort to organize this FDP on blockchain with the core intention that the base intention was, if the faculty members know more about this, they can have go and have good projects for them, and they can increase the placement value of the students. Okay, so here 5 billion USD, 5 billion it is going to reach in 2025 here. Now, the transaction family, whichever is there, it provides a methodology for storing whatever on-chain configurations we are having, like the settings, the consensus mechanisms, and there are the transaction structure. It provides the methodology to store on-chain configuration settings, okay, whenever we write a program. That means we can map to the blockchain hardware from the external knowledge what we are having, some idea will be having, it will be mapped in the transaction family. Okay, in case of in the application processes, we are in the blockchain network, we have very specific in case of the Hyperledger sawtooth, say the beginning, and in case of the Hyperledger sawtooth network. Why I am telling you is that transaction header, no, it had inputs and outputs which I did not explain. So in that transaction header, input is from where the transaction processor and validator, they can read the information of the payload or the whole transaction header. They can read that information. Okay. Then there is that output, no? in that transaction header only, please remember that one. There was one output field in that. In that, in that output, where the data after this one should be written, the address of that is specified. It may be multiple, if there are multiple transactions and multiple contexts. In that case, we have inputs also 1, 2, 3 addresses. Maybe in the output also we are having 1 and 2. It might be 1 and 1 address also. Okay. As I have told you very clearly, the transaction family payloads are defined by the protocol. Okay. Let us where the account creation is there, and you want to deposit, withdraw, such things, such application is there. So you need to create the account data. Here is, so I have shown a small module here. Okay, small module here. So uint, one blank should be there, customer ID, and this is 1. Then string customer name 2. Then savings 3, right? And this is 4. These are very much specifically embedded in the message protocol, okay, of the protobuf, Google protobuf, whatever I have told. And these things are defined in a proto file. Okay, it might be supply.proto file or something like that way. So they are defined there. Okay, so the one refers to customer ID, and it is having the data type of you it can have. Okay, so this is specific to this one. This is the programming language where they follow for the protobufs of the Google protobuf protocol here. And so you will be giving this as the inputs to the protocol buffers, and the SDKs of the protocol protobufs also you will be downloading them, or it is already available in the this one. You will be attaching those SDKs here, and you will be getting an optimized output. After one more step is there, you will be compiling the code, and you will be getting the output here in a very memory efficient output. Okay, so one, suppose if it is the first part, it will show it is referring to the customer ID. Okay, and suppose the second part, it is showing that it is of this int here. Then followed by suppose here it is showing the name of the customer is Anand. The name of the customer is Anand. Okay, ANAND. So it is having 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 will be there here, right? And the complete binary code, I believe they are using some ASCII code format of value of Anand will be stored here. So this is how the value of this part will be stored in the binary encoded format. Using the protobuf, we'll have to define the proper data structure for this one. That application designer. Okay. Here, right? So what will happen here? In this case, what I wanted to highlight is inputs, outputs. This I have already told you. You will have to use a payload encoding and method here. And this whatever payload you have taken here, you have to take this part here. Okay, signer public key and batcher public key. If there are any dependencies on the previous transaction, so this is the family name, right? The family name I can take for my this one as say Fortis. here, family name and family version 1.2, right? Okay, so this part here, serialized transaction, this is the header signature, the actual data will be there in this payload, okay, and the blockchain will have this the whole mechanism for serializing and forming this transaction header, and that information is stored in this header here, in this header. This is the client signature. He will sign with the private key. Here, okay, same procedure is applied for the batch and this one also. Okay, so what you have to do here, you have to this has to be directly, I am writing a pseudocode type here, right? Pseudocode means in actual English language I am putting the steps what are to be done, and that this pseudocode can be mapped directly to the this software modules that we are going to prepare the platform at the front end portal. Say this is a particular through the command line interface, that is the CLI. Okay, so ECDSA signing, create a private key. Very important, you know, I have not told in any of my sessions, private key should not be known to others, keep it in the safe locker, right? You should not share your private key with anybody. Now suppose there was a somebody from Canada, I don't know his name, who was having lots of bitcoins, right? And he came to India and he went back to Canada and suddenly he disappeared. So much of bitcoins were there, we don't know what happened to him. Then that had come as a big issue in the paper, right? In all the this I read it in Times of India. So maybe it was some last year September October time, something like that way. So they were not able to recover those bitcoins. The specific reason is this private key, right? This private key was not known to anybody. Lots of investment was there. So it is very important that private key should not be shared to others. On the contrary, if something happens like this way, then also it is a problem. What I showed you the instance, what I explained that instance to you. Okay, it will generate ECDSA for signing. All these sentences, what this pseudocode, what I have written here, exactly it will mapped. First four, it will be mapped on the instructions in or the programming lines in the Sawtooth algorithm, in the Sawtooth platform. Now, the client is now equipped with the public key and the private key. Now, the signer wraps the private key and provides some methods for signing bytes and getting the private keys associated public key. That means public key is known to everybody. In the network, again, very familiar, what you should have is the same network, okay, where everybody is this one speaking to each other and we can talk to each other, right? So a signer wraps a private key and this public key is available. Suppose the signer is here, the public key of this one, this validator is there, public key of one, right? Validator also will have a public key and private key for all the addressing mechanisms used inside the blockchain there. Okay, there are the actor definitions in the Sawtooth network. This is a whole Sawtooth network here. You need to set up the Sawtooth network. Okay. Then the actors which are there in the sawtooth network are transactor, the person who signs the batches or the transactions. When signing a batch, the transactor is also a batch signer. The top part what I had told in that architecture, no? When signing, if the same person signs the transaction, he will also be a transaction signer, because in a batch there might be some 10, 5, 6, whatever number, so many transactions will be there given by different clients. One, the batches, he is the transactor. Okay, batch signer is a transactor which signs the batch header on the top, which you have seen. No, is a batch header using the batcher signer's private key, right? That resulting is used in that batch. Resulting signature is used in that batch, right? On the top two things which I had not explored in the previous architecture, I am exploring here. The batcher signer public key is also stored in that batch header. Okay. Then the third person inside the sawtooth network, the actors or the people who are involved in that one, is a transaction signer. Is a transactor which will sign that transaction header is there, no? Who will sign that one, and using the transaction signer's private key, right? And resulting signature in the transactor, 3 people are there, no? That is used as a part of transaction. The signer's public key, I was telling you that input, output, last one thing which I did not tell you is the public key. This public key is also stored in that transaction header. Okay. Then the other actor which is involved in that whole network, sawtooth network, that hexagon network I can say, that is the blockchain sawtooth network, is the network operator. It is the network operator which manages that whole sawtooth network, determines and coordinates the network characteristics. Okay, what are the network characteristics? The first network characteristics is which transaction processor is going to be run. I told you that how the whole transaction life cycle and how the flow is there in the second slide. So which transaction processor, there might be in a network validator 1, validator 2, transaction processor 1, transaction processor 2, right? Multiple people. So which transaction should be run, and which is the consensus mechanism that is going to be used, and how we are going the modifying the on-chain setting and on-chain roles. All these things is done by that network operator. It is in that this one. There is another important person in this one is the system administration. It is a person who will who configures the validator software, and at the net, because the one more thing very important is this network layer in the sawtooth architecture. What is happening at this network layer should be known to us. So validator software config files are handled by this system, this administrator there. Okay. Then I told you here, signer wraps a private key and provides convenient method for signing bytes and getting the private keys. I have to map it, isn't it? I have to map it to the software. This is how it is mapped to the software. I have to it requires this particular SDK here, right? The require is the command that is used inside that one, and it will create the constraints for signing SCCP 256K1 algorithm, which is used, I told you, for algorithm. Okay, I have been telling even in Ethereum, even in my previous session, now also. So this private key, you need to this one, and you'll have to generate that random number, that D and G I had told, no? That is Q is equal to DG. That has to happen, no? That happens. New random private key. This choice of this D happens here, and then because before this D should be chosen between 1 and n minus 1, where n minus 1 is a very large number. Okay, D should be chosen within this. That happens with these softwares, right? And there are now you are having the signer here. So it uses this module, takes the context, and it will assign the private key, whatever has been generated. So Q and D. D is the private key and Q will be the public key. Like this only there will be an algorithm for the public key, associated public key also. Now, I have taken one example. Let me relate this to Raghavendra's clinical trials, what he showed us yesterday. In his clinical science, this one, all the glucose, this one, details like what is the glucose level, what is the clinical trials of the say the diabetes, what is the count of that one, all these things he showed, no? So that you can keep in mind here. Then the transaction processor uses a payload, not 3 but uses now 11 here. So because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. Totally 12 key pairs it will use here. And I told you it is taken as CBOR. So you'll have to constant CBOR require this particular algorithm to put in that transaction. 3 people are there, no? There is one known as payload in that transaction. That transaction structure is very important. It should be at the tip of your tongue. Okay, what will happen? It will take these values, right? And it will take these values and it will generate the CBOR output for this one, and that CBOR output is stored here. So the patient ID is 42, name is Peter Mackey, age is 51 on 2/2, and the whole registration is valid for 1 month. So patient history, allergic to Brufen. He wants to visit the doctor, Dr. John, and doctor ID is 12. Okay, and doctor belongs to a department, so that department ID is 4, and the registration amount he has to pay is 500. Okay, now when he pays the registration amount only, now what are you going to write in that business logic, which interacts like that handler.js and all I have told, no? Which right? Pays that 5, right? Another thing is, if he has if patient ID has come, suppose he has registered on 2/2, and if he comes on say 10 date, right, 10th of the same month, it should allow him without this registration fee. Yes or no? It should allow him. Okay, that means this whole thing you have to soft code it. You have to soft code it. Now this soft code will become the business logic for you. and this business logic acts as the smart contract. Okay, acts as the smart contract. Okay, so here actually I had designed only up to here, then suddenly we came across, when I was discussing with the VIT student, I came across, okay, now it will be registered, there should be a change of state in the behavior of this one. What should be the change of state? That's why I have included this token state 0, right? If token state is 0, that means he is not registered. If then else architecture, no? You remember what all the three people told, even I had told, that is Manjula madam, Yogi sir, Raghavendra sir. They told that smart contracts are if then architecture, if then else architecture they follow. So here it is called in Hyperledger Sawtooth the business logic. Okay, then if the token status is 0, all you should write very clearly what are the transaction execution rules, you know? Transaction execution rules when you are designing. Okay, so one of the rule you can put is only means you can check the status. If it is 0 means not registered. Okay, then once he pays, okay, for that, if that amount is paid and the registration desk they click on the enter, this 0 should change to 1. That means now if that state is 1, we are going to tell that registration process is completed. Okay, so here again this is you'll have to use this command for the payload bytes, that is CBAR encode payload in this case here. Okay, I'm trying to put some things extra because there is a huge document which you need to there are, first thing is, even if you go to ethereum.org, lots of documentation is there, and even if you go to Hyperledger Sawtooth and .org, fabric.org, lots of things. One is the introduction, one is the application development, and another is the development of these transaction families. It is there. There it is the chain code in Hyperledger Fabric. Okay, so this is encoded now. Okay, I hope I have done some justice to this one. This slide, a very raw slide, just to relate what is the terminology used in Sawtooth and what terminology you use in object oriented programming language, because all the people in this Fabric or this one, they use OOPS only, right? So in OOPS we have the object. An object stores its states in the field, member variable in the classes. Objects expresses its behavior through methods. So because I have told in even in the smart contract, I have used the word method there, right? Even in Ethereum, and we have used in this one also methods or functions. Okay, behavior through methods, and methods operate on the object's internal state, and the object to object communication can happen through this primary mechanism. Now the object will have the state, that means it will have the actual data, right, and behavior, which are the operations that are performed in this one. So basically the object has 3 characteristics, right? I am telling only the basics of OOPS here to come for you to understand, and to understand the big word global state, world state. Okay, in case of the Ethereum, and this one or hyperledger fabric, sawtooth, in anything, how they are relating, how the terminologies are evolved. Those who are very good at the software engineering and all this oops and all, I think it's simply a cakewalk for you to implement these things. I do encourage for you to start working on these platforms. Okay. So for suppose it is an account, class name, we can bank account will become the class name, and bank account actually will become the object. Okay. I am trying to put the context. Why specifically I have put the context here is uses key value pair. Right. So that is here patient is Peter, right? Say ID, say it is 42 or 12, whatever it is, right? Patient ID. So this and this, key value, key and value, this one. Patient is the key and this one is the value. Okay. Now, after this, all these things is the transaction flow only. In case of the sawtooth architecture, you need to define a function, send request. It will take the payload object and submit that transaction. And then it will use that hashing 512. It will create the payload bytes for that transaction header. At the first step, you need to convert your payload. Suppose if you are given in JSON, you need to convert into data bytes, and the whole things, whatever it is handling inside, because there should be this interface mechanisms. Okay, because I don't know whether I'm right in this little understanding of mine. HTTPs and all this web server, they immediately understand this JSON data formats very popularly. Okay, so if you have in JSON data formats, then those are converted to bytes, and that we can have it CBOR library only for that part of the payloads. Okay, payload at the web interaction or the CLI interaction to form that in payload side only. Okay. Incidentally, what happened, yesterday night, I was thinking, oh, this sawtooth is using protobufs, and why they give JSON interface. Now it is very clear that that part, that transaction is having 3 fields, no? Payload bytes is there, no? To input of that can be in JSON. Input of that can be in JSON format. Okay, and that we can convert using CBOR. That means there is a perfect matching, whatever requirements we have as a user, as a human being. I'm familiar with some data type. I am using at this at the client interaction side, or the web interface, or the CLI interface, this part. Okay, so I'm clubbing it. I should go and write the coded form of that payload. No, there I'm clubbing the CBOR library and sending the request for as a client. And even in the hardware, what will happen? Suppose if you are using a Raspberry Pi system, and if you are using an ESP8266, Arduino ESP8266 system, right? And you are capturing the temperature, and you are capturing the vibrations, right? When the truck is saving drugs, it should move with a particular speed only. It should not shake. How will you identify this? By the vibrations that cause when the truck is moving. We will extract that information by using the accelerometer. Connect that accelerometer and the temperature sensor. It might be a DHT11 temperature sensor, and the accelerometer will connect this either to the platform of a mini computer, that is the Raspberry Pi platform, or we can have our own system and extract the libraries for the ESP8266 at the client side, then transmit this hardware. All this hardware has to be put live in that particular truck, off the line. I would like to share one small video which I had seen yesterday. In that video, they have what I saw was, it's a if you click the button, somebody is drowning, right? Somebody is drowning, or they have gone into the middle of the river and he is not able to swim, right? So this person will throw that jacket. It is a half semi-sphere jacket, and from here there will be a remote control. He will be having a remote control. He can move that one, right? With his remote control, he goes on moving that, right? With his remote control, he goes on navigating that till it reaches that person. And again, once that person, this one, there are turbo machines in that, this one, that also he will start operating, because he doesn't know to swim. That also he will start operating to bring him to the bank. It is a whole lot of fancy IoT technology and system. So dependencies, so many things I told here. I would like to highlight the nonce here, right? The nonce, two things here, nonce and dependencies. For the completion's sake, I have written the whole slide here, but two things what I want to highlight is the dependencies and the nonce field here. So uniqueness, it defines the uniqueness of the transaction. Sawtooth will not execute a transaction if there was any other transaction with the same transaction header, right? With the same transaction header, right? Here, transaction header. It is put in this nonce, the value that it is an integer field, right? uint32 field, okay? If I put, it goes on changing. Suppose the name of the person is Peter only, and it happens in Mackey, his surname, and 31, right? He 51, his age also is 51, right? But he is another patient. He is not the same patient, right? That time, this nonce, it will identify some characteristics, and you have to code. If there is some difference, you will have to code. No two transactions, they should not generate the same header and put in the transaction. For that, it should not happen. If all the fields are same, it will go and change that nonce from 1 to 2. That time, the logic will change, and the cryptography will give a different hash, okay? And that hash is stored in the transaction header. So now the two distinct hashes will be there. Now, transaction header byte is now created. Once you create the transaction header byte, you have to sign it. That can be done. Constant. This is from the program I have extracted. Signer.sign transaction header bytes. Okay. With the created transaction header, now we are ready for the transaction. And payload, transaction arrays are created, because each batch will have a number of transactions. Arrays are created. Okay. Then this whole protobuf, how it is handled is protobuf transaction create, because that serialization has to be done, no? Right? Then header is a transaction header bytes, then header signature, payload is a payload bytes. Our whole the whole scenario concentrates only on preparing these three bytes, that is these three fields, transaction structure during the client when he submits the transaction. First part of that one here. Then these transactions into batch and that same things goes on repeating here. Okay. Now, when we are creating header bytes here, these header bytes, how the nonce is created, I told the name of the for Peter, that one I showed, no? I have named the family name as the Thompson Hospital, right? Thompson Hospital. So family version 1. Then inputs will not be this. It will be address of 32 bytes in hex B, C, D, E, A, 9, 4, 6, something like that. The total 32 bytes will be there. Outputs also will be this one. Output will be there. So this indicates that you read from this one. Okay. You can write to the same address or whichever other addresses are given here. Okay. Whatever you specify there. Right. So here signer public key, batcher public key, whatever I have told in case of the design and deployment, even in the architecture, and even when we started this one here, these are the modules which you have to invoke. What you have to create these header files. Okay, you have to create the header files, and when you will finish, then here something you are adding to the nonce, and then you will finish. Okay, the whole procedure here. Then we are using this protobuf transaction header encode to encode this data, right? This part here, this part, no? Here it will encode this data to the transaction header bytes. Now you will create the transaction header. We have to sign that one, no? For that, the program module which you will use is this one. Whatever I have written, this is the program module. This part is also the program module directly. Okay, constant signature, signer dot sign, transaction header bytes. Okay. Now, the actual transaction, I have we had the figure 1. Remember the layout of this 2, 3, right? I'm speaking with regard to this one. That is the transaction. This was batch and this was the batch header. This is a transaction header. Now we need to create this one here. So we'll have to append the transaction header for this one, signature, payload bytes. From the previous one, please see these same keywords we use in the program, and transactions are a set of arrays. It will go and attach itself to one of the index what has been during the which is available during the execution time, or during that address generation, whatever is there for that particular where it has to go and write, or from where it has to read actually. Now, yes, the transaction is ready. Now I was very happy to write that wow, you know, there. Okay, finally I could get that information. This is how it is composed of 3 people. Then a list of array will be formed. here. This is a, we'll have the array index. This will be nothing but, this will be the addresses that are generated, and we have various transactions in this one here, which each of them is this here. It forms an array. Then from here we have to create a batch which contains these transactions, many transactions together. Okay. Payload SHA-512, which we use in the transaction header. Okay, that field whatever we are having. Now the transaction header is having a signing public key, batcher signer public key, nonce value, transaction header, and the batch signer and the transaction signer may be the same. What will happen here is, suppose there is one client, second client, third client, fourth client. Okay, this person will submit one transaction. All of them will submit, right? Say this person will sign. He will also be one who is signing that particular transaction array. In that one transaction he is signing, and he may be the same person, batch signer and transaction signer. Usually it will be the same person. When these whole people are bundled together, same person will also sign the batch, right? Same people will also sign the same person will also sign the batch. Therefore, so many times we may have the batch signer and transaction signer may be the same or usually the same. Now I am again relating to the ECDSA algorithm. So what will happen is, allows for the signature compatibility, then 64-byte signature concatenated into R and S value in the second algorithm here. Okay, first algorithm was public key and private key generation. Second algorithm, that is the generating the digital signature, it will give this one, it will give two outputs, right? Those two outputs are R and S. Two outputs are R and S. That is the ECDSA signature will take the message, that is the payload, will take the private key, will take that G from the EC, that is the elliptic curve algorithm, will take the value of N and function what we have to take, and it will generate one message out of that box, black box, which is compute intensive with a series of steps which you have, which are there, and it will generate R and S value. Actually, this R and S value, it is small s and small r, not capital S and capital R. Okay, they are the standards of the ECDSA algorithm. Okay, that is the second part which has to be done. Now, transaction header, it will be a serialized version, and that transaction header also has to be it has to go and plug in the particular transaction, whatever you have to see. This is to reiterate in you, this slide is specifically to reiterate in your mind the flow of the payload, which we normally are used to know as a database designer or anything like that. Okay, so Peter, St. Thompson's Hospital. So client sends the role of the sender here. Okay, John is the receiver now. Dr. John is the receiver because he, the client Peter, he wants to go and get himself checked at the with particular Dr. John for his annual checkup. Okay, transactions sent by the sender should be received for annual health checkup whoever Peter has come, and Dr. John, he is the family doctor of Peter at that particular hospital. Okay. So Dr. John also is a part of this one. He has his own public key and private key. Now that part of John, Peter will be over that part. That there will be another process which has to start. Here again that process diagram, whatever Madam had, Lakshmi Madam had told in that will come into help here. First process is completed, registration. Now it is the diagnosis process, right? So John has his own public key and private key. The transaction contains message or information which will become the payload after diagnosis. So he will maybe he will check the blood pressure, or he wants him to go and get the ECG done from somebody in the department number 15 is the ECG department. So he will initiate that part with the actually doctors when they are doing such things, if they have some system, they should not be burdened with lots of data entry and all. Just we can give them one some command line system, you know. This command line system, they should have some few keys. If you press them, hardware should be developed. If you press the keys, he will directly go to that particular department. Everything should be automated, right? That is what my visualization is, because let the doctors be more concentrating on their work itself. Okay, means they are the medical professionals. They should be given easy access in terms of buttons only. Okay, then payload is application specific. We have to go and now the this person has to go when that particular process will be completed. Now diagnosis is he has to go and get his ECG done. Doctor will get that ECG report from the, say, Dr. Balaji. He is the ECG this one. He will give the report to Dr. John, right? And then John will see that ECG report, and he will prescribe whatever it is, the medicines and or the complete process. Now in this one we are going to handle the image, isn't it? ECG will come in the form of an image. Can Dr. Balaji transmit that image directly? We should not transmit in the blockchain network. So that image again we'll code it. We'll have to prepare that payload byte. So in one of the application, Milton is my PhD student who will be coming in the afternoon. So in one of the application, small part just to know, I made him to code in Python and use the base 64 coding, and also that in that base 64 coding, that information can be there, and that interaction what I have told can happen. And then at the output side also, we should be able to get that same report whatever is sent by Dr. Balaji. That also we saw it is coming perfectly, and these same techniques are used in these Amazons also, Amazon companies also. When they are having many people in their network, and when they have to send that invoice and all that, similar techniques are used there also. Okay, so whenever the transaction payload is application specific, John is the receiver, and now the transaction cycle for that will be completed only when it goes to the receiver, Dr. Balaji, and he sends that documents initiation from Dr. John, right? And it receives Dr. Balaji and change the state there. Change state is, that means you have to, Dr. Balaji will have one state information that he should know. In the business logic also, you have to apply these techniques, you know. You have to put these if then else conditions in the smart contracts. Okay. Okay. Thompson is the family name, and Thompson registration data is stored in the state using addresses which are generated. Now that Thompson I had put it in the family name. I hope you remember that part as the prefix. And customer ID, I think I had put 12 or 42, I don't remember. So there in the account entry. So addresses will head in Hyperledger Sawtooth. They will head this adhere to the 70 character hexadecimal, this one. Okay. Again, I should it should be I think I had put only Thompson there. It can be Thompson Hospital also, that the family name. Okay. The first 6 characters. So it will have first 6 characters. Yeah, this Thompson Hospital or Thompson is given as the input. You'll get the output here. You'll get a 32 bytes output from this one here. From that, you are going to pick up only the first 6. Pick up only the first 6 here. Here, that is the hex values, only the first 6. And this one, after the here, the following 64 characters are the 64 characters value of SHA, this one 512 or 256 they use. 64 if they are using means they have to use SHA 512. Suppose customer ID, Peter was the customer and his customer ID is 42. That hash of that the customer ID, it is used for the address generation. Okay. Now here patient message patient registration. So token status. This is the protobuf file. Okay. There I had told you I started. Whenever I was preparing this part, what I saw, egg is first or chicken is first, right? So I went on the understanding bottom-up approach. Yeah, we'll get first in all the documents they tell this 1, 2, 3, 4. I have not done like that way for your presentation. What is this 1, 2, 3, 4? To understand that only we should know the protocol buffers and that. So easy understanding is patient ID and ID is some 12 or something. Patient name is Peter. Last name is Mackey. Age is 51. Visit date is February 2nd. Valid till March 2nd. Something like that. Patient history. The value is one. Visit to doctor. Right? Dr. John. Doctor ID is 12. Department ID is 4. Registration amount 500. Token status 0. Okay. Address generation. Thompson UTF encoding is also one of the encoding part where they use actually in the SHA-52. They also use this in. You'll have to encode, and in Ethereum they are using KECCAC, KECCACK algorithm. Okay, so only the first Thompson Hospital first 6 are picked up, right? And then it is hashed with the customer ID. This is encoded to take the 64 this one, and totally you will have this part that is generated. That is a unique address generation for each transaction. This is how it is generated. Okay. Settings TP. It command starts the settings transfer. You will have to start that one, no? In one of that blue diagram where I showed a second diagram, start the transaction processor, right? There should be somebody to tell that one, right? And also which is the algorithm that is used, POET, and what is the wait time. I told you in the previous architecture. So I am the one who is winning, that is as a validator, because 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. validator 3. Yes, from that whole consensus mechanism, one peer is winning. He will, this wait time should be stored somewhere now. It is stored in this format here. Okay. Pluggable content, this one, all other things are okay here. Now, using Ubuntu, there are different platforms where we can have this sawtooth. One is Ubuntu, what I normally ran is on Ubuntu 16.04. Ubuntu 18.04 also some changes have to be made, and we can run on the this one Mac system, then Ubuntu system, both on this one. So you will have to follow these procedures: user key, root key, Genesis block, to warm up the sawtooth mode. What you have to do now, you have to start that components, the validators, who are this one. They were the actors, no? They were the actor definitions which we have done: validator, consensus engine, REST APIs, transaction processors, that hex diagram. You will be having the ports and adapters definition there. This ports and adapters definition is stored in the docker.yml file, and you'll have to check the status of the REST API, and you'll have to use sawtooth commands at the CLI mode to submit the transaction, display the block data, and examine the sawtooth logs. These are the three operations that the client can do. Now you have to come out of the whole environment. There is a docker, this exit command, or a docker DOCKER, docker stop command. You will have to come out of that and reset the development environment here. So sawtooth keygen is one of the command which you can use for generating. The docker compose file handles the environment setup, generates the keys, creates the Genesis block, and this is how you should learn to set up the network startup of the process. Because what is the use of only knowing so many things when I cannot implement the thing and myself be committed and see the beauty of the technology? I don't think we'll be gaining much from that one. So this sawtooth environment should be known to us, setup environment. So REST APIs, JSON format they interact, right? And options for REST APIs, the bind address, the validator is suppose default it is running on 4004. That timeout value configuration, I told in one of the morning, only one slide of the program I had used was for REST API. So we'll wait for a response for the validator. Now, the terminology in Hyperledger Sawtooth, where you need to use this one. I don't know, I'm not able to play this one here. Let us see. Okay. Hope I'll not make any mess up with this. Babu, Anand Babu, is it visible, my slide? No. Anand Babu?
Madam, it is making time.
It is taking time, huh? But
Yeah.
my slide is visible? No.
The slide is visible, madam.
But I'm not getting the slide only here.
Slide is visible. Terminology in Hyperledger Sawtooth.
Okay, okay. I think some network issue has come because
Madam, you lost your PPT.
ಒಂದು 5 ನಿಮಿಷ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಈಗ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಹೋಯ್ತು ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದು ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಅಂತಲೇ ಬಂದಿರೋದು.
Madam, PPT is visible now.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Anand, you are a good taskmaster, you know? Really, because otherwise, without that interaction, this is difficult. This one, okay. I was trying to play that audio. I did not check in. I should have checked with you. There is a very nice audio what I have spoken. I don't know whether it will be visible when I send it to you. Okay.
Okay.
The sender sends the transaction. Client signs private key, public key. The transaction will have from, value, and to, and the whole terminology that is used in Hyperledger Sawtooth, I have tried to bring in this one slide, so that one slide, if you just take take a photograph or a printout of this and just keep with this one. Am I visible, Anand? Hello,
Yes,
Anand?
madam, you are visible. You are visible.
Yeah. Because I want to connect to the audience, you know.
Yeah.
Validator, executor, journal, hashing, PBFT, transaction, all these things, you know, I have just put the terminologies at one glance. You will get the information, and you will try to probe more into the these things and get a knowledge about how how you should proceed for your design aspects. Okay. So sort of network setup is required as a application developer's view, client side interaction, front end web interface, and if it is the blockchain, you require the complete data acquisition system, you know, that should be set up. And I believe that if your students or any other interested faculty students, they develop these things, they can go to worldwide competitions. Your students can go across the world. So many competitions are held. IEEE competitions, Keysight competitions, and IoT design competitions, then platform approach, blockchain competition. So many competitions are held. So your students prizes in this area also. Yeah. So global state management manages the global state. It is similar to Ethereum. That serialized state of payload is there. It will store in that radix Merkle tree, which has been very clearly explained. And I also told by Raghavendra, and I also told some part of it, this one. The transaction processor, I told the namespace, that is the Thomson or Thomson Hospital, to which it can write. And that is that arrow mark, that one is there. No, I have put that transaction family. That will be the namespace there. That is a family name. Okay. Different serialization methods are used by the developer, but in this one, they are using the protobuf serialization method. So 70 characters representing 35 bytes. The address format, it contains 3 bytes, that is 6 hex characters of the namespace prefix, and see how many you can do with that one, around which provides so many possibilities of names. Because if you are binary engineer, which whatever we study in our digital electronics and all that, we know that how we have to count, calculate that 16777 216, right? 2 raised to how much it is. Okay. 32 bytes, whatever you are having, that is the 64 hex characters. They are encoded based on the specifications of the designer of the namespace. schemes and distinguishing the object types and mapping domain specific unique identifiers in the portions of that particular address whatever we are using. Okay, that is a Merkle tree. I don't know if in the group there are data structure engineers and who will be very happy to program on these Merkle trees, and only you can give it as a program, that Merkle tree generation and that organization, and from that storage root hash, no, you should come back and go and fetch one transaction, decode the transaction and know what is whether that the whole journey of Peter when he goes to hospital, no, that should be known. You can take it as a project. For some part you can some hints are given for this one here. This is how it looks. Specific address, maybe it might be some part blurred. It is available. So the whole address here. This is the first 6 bytes. That is 6 characters means it will be 3 bytes, and remaining 64 characters means it will be 32 bytes. Total, it is a string of 70 character string. So here, many things I have told. What I have not told is the ledger sync. You know, that module is one of the important module which I haven't touched in any of the morning session and even up to now. It is one of the crucial component, you know, end-to-end blockchain product you should have, right? The whole hospital system you want to have, or Raghavendra sir showed that application. You want to build that whole application, you know. What is that ledger sync, right? The main nervous system is this ledger sync there, right? It is the ledger sync. This part is the ledger sync, because it needs to create database with the world state of the sawtooth also. Who are involved in that one? Validate sawtooth's whole network, validators, transaction processors, REST APIs. You need to it interacts with all these people. Here, ledger sync. You should write this one here. This is a separate module you have to write as a program, right? As a module in your software. Now, with the world state of the sawtooth, this state, I told you that Merkle tree, no? This is how the Merkle tree will look like. Here, this is one dummy part. Another part will be formed here, right? Then this one, okay. Then this person, another dummy part. This will be formed, and here we will have one more person here. This will be the state root. This will be the root hash. Like this, a huge Merkle tree will be there. Merkle Patricia also they call it, one tree algorithm. Okay, so you want to query the data. These are the known as the leaf nodes. These leaf nodes are the transactions. These leaf nodes are the transactions, okay? And these transactions will be again only encoded and kept here. The whole thing only they will be encoded and kept here. Say if they are using 32 bytes, only that will be known here, okay? Then as an outside person, you are querying something here. This should be there should how we serialize, no? Serialize same way you should also deserialize. To get that information. Okay, Sawtooth provides the flexibility of using various programming languages to create this ledger sync. Okay, this works with the help of data subscribers in the Sawtooth client SDK. Now there will be three terminals: terminal 1, terminal 2, terminal 3. So this will help if this is the client side, right? Sawtooth client side SDK. Okay. So I have gone through the supply chain management, the whole code of 200, 300 pages, which I took a print out of that. And also for the beginners, what I suggest is Mr. Varun from Script Technologies, Madras. He has given some 2-3 live working of this one, and you can go through those things also. Additional this one. The transaction family is the only authorized unit in the Hyperledger Sawtooth to deserialize the payload. I told you deserialize, no? The transaction family, you know, that is connecting to the outside world. It will deserialize the payload. The transaction family executes, right? Executes the deserialized protocol to extract the payload information. Validator, TP, and the whole people who are in that hexagon Sawtooth see the payload only as a sequence of bytes. They will not see whether it is Peter, whether it is John, whether it is Dr. Anand, whether it is Dr. Bankar, or whether it is Dr. Uma, or whether it is Dr. Dakshayani. Nobody it will see. It will only see as a bytes, sequence of bytes. That's why even in that remakes and all, they were clicking on the left side, you know, you will get that 20 byte external address, right? It will only play with those hex, right? What that means we should know. So this transaction family is a magic mirror to view the content of the payload. Now we go to the exhibition, so there will be so many magic mirrors. Transaction family is the magic mirror. I'm almost coming to the end, right? I had drawn that hex, this one, hexagon diagram. So this transaction cycle, transaction phases, right? It is, you take a coin, 10 rupees coin, both the sides, it will have phase 1 and phase 2, right? And 2 phases of the same coin. Then only the transaction is completed. That means for the batch, it will have the this one at the client side, batch formation will be done, right? Transaction submitted, batch formation will be done, and then block formation should happen, no? Blocks or formation happens at the back end at the validator and the Sawtooth network. That one here, it will have the batch ID, block number, which consensus algorithm it has used, what is the current hash, previous hash, timestamp, and who is the validator who has validated this one. I have not touched upon these validating actual this transaction of the block, batch ID and all more, but it is a state change. My intention was whatever the process is there to show that particularly very clearly in this this one here, flow. Okay, so supply chain management, so web, mobile client, REST API, so validator, so QR code will be there, reading will show the information, events related to the product, which is a company, which batch, temperature, location, harvesting and rear field, and specific events will be there. Okay, that mechanism, how you are transmit, if Walmart is sending from Alaska to say Georgia Tech, Georgia State, how the transportation logic, it will be included with all that hardware and all, GPS and all, that will be sent on the cloud. It will reach reach the this one transaction. It will become ownership is the person farmer, and this person people will be the custodians now. Okay, these people transportation and all, they'll be the custodians. So send data to from the sensors to the blockchain. Okay, blockchain necessary information made through the QR code to the available this one. Okay, so application wise, these are another 2 minutes, 1 minute, I think. Okay, yeah, this one. The companies which are using Hyperledger Sawtooth, Amazon Web Services, all these companies are using Hyperledger Sawtooth. Okay, July 25th, 2020, India's first blockchain platform to digitize COVID-19 records and data goes live. Some information what I have collected. I don't know whether it was on, I don't think, no, it was on Ethereum or Sawtooth or Hyperledger, but I have just put some events there. Triple IT Bangalore, they are being funded with emphasis, and they also do lots of work on blockchain technology. They are also having specifically for MS in blockchain technology. The fees is around 1 lakh or something. It converts in this, there are some apps which convert COVID-19 clinical to digital assets. And Arogya Setu app, no, it will, this one, for Belfrix, Vijay Kumar is the founder of that one. Okay. Yeah. So let me say a nice thank you. And I hope I was motivative for you to start some design, develop and deploy the blockchain. This one, okay.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if any questionnaires you can ask, if you have any queries. If there is no queries means I would like to conclude the session. Okay.
Yeah, at least give some comment, yeah. Some one person at least. Previous
least.
this one I wanted to take rest for 30 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe
Hello,
one.
ma'am.
Yes, yes.
It was really nice, motivative, ma'am. I have worked on Hyperledger Fabric. Now I got interest to work with Sawtooth also. I'll come to you, ma'am.
Yeah. Actually, what what was the expectation of the participant or anybody was Hyperledger Fabric? I know that one, but to some extent, I have gone through the Hyperledger Fabric also. But I need some more expertise, at least to put in that effort of putting it on the system and working. One belief system what we can have is work on Ethereum or one platform, know the complete basics properly, and then go to other platform to know the other things.
Yes,
anybody
ma'am.
else, ma'am? Nice to know that one, you know. One more, some comment, you know, always the organizers also will feel nice, and I always take, you can criticize also. I am very, because of that, I refine myself, you know. I take it in a very good response and refine myself. And this one, somebody also can put one more word, because I think I'll not be coming again. Afternoon session is Milton's. One more. Alright, nothing. So many people are there. Unmute and tell one sentence at least, something. Huh? Yes? Kritika, Kirti, Shreya, whom are I seeing here? Nitya Shri. Huh? Right? So Uma is not there, Dr. Uma?
No, madam. Madam is went
Okay.
for a meeting, madam.
Meeting, she has gone.
Okay.
Anand, give some comment at least.
So it was yes, madam. I was telling like that.
Yeah,
So a lot of work that you have done with respect to the Hyperledger Sawtooth transaction flow and Hyperledger architecture also. So a lot of information it has been embedded in the two sessions itself only. So as far as my knowledge, the two topics that you did today, so it can prolong up to 2 days, I think so. So
Definitely.
uh,
Definitely.
so it was very much informative, very much brainstorming.
Yeah,
So thank you for all your.
Another thing is Kerala is having one center, Kerala Blockchain Academy, where they interact with the government of India and all that. Similarly, some of you delegates can set up in Karnataka also. And such are the opportunities what we have. Only one last this one. Whatever the FDPs had seen across on blockchain from the past 1.5 year or 2 years, most of them were concentrating only on the FDPs. So they were concentrating on Ethereum platform, and here sort of bringing some new technology, that is Hyperledger Sawtooth. I am very happy about that. Thank you, participants.
Madam,
Yes.
one more participant has commented, but he has an technical issues. Session was wonderful. Om Shankar Singh. Session was wonderful. Due to the technical issues, I can't comment in voice.
Thank you. Okay, it's a nice motivation for all of us.
Okay, so
See you.
So I once again from the Malnad College family, I would like to thank Bankar Madam. So she is the backbone of our FDP. Okay, so thank you a lot, Madam.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay.
Okay.